Hello and welcome to the FATBOSS Guide to Feng the Accursed 10-man normal in the Mogu'shan vault.
Yes, this fight, it's a bit
odd.
A bit strange, but it's very good.
Yeah, it's quite enjoyable. But anyway, let's get straight into it. You want to bring 2 tanks, 2 to 3 healers and a mixture of DPS, and it is a 3-phase fight. And the phases start at 95, 66 and 33%. But before we go into the phases, let's talk about these 2 crystals that spawn.
Yeah, 2 crystals, they spawn on the pool and they can be used by your tanks, only your tanks. That will give it will give them an extra action button. Now the first crystal is Nullification Barrier,
which spawns on the right hand side.
And basically when you use it, it creates a barrier that prevents all damage from magical effects to you if you stand inside it.
Simple as that.
Yeah, it can also be used to prevent certain boss mechanics, but we'll cover that in a little while.
And the other one is Shroud of Reversal, which spawns on the left-hand side, and this allows the tank to mimic the effects of the next harmful ability that the tank takes. So if the tank gets hit by an ability, he can mimic that ability. This is used like as a DPS increase for the tanks, or can actually be used to interrupt certain abilities. So the first phase you'll get is Spirit of the Fist, and in this form he'll gain 3 new abilities. The first ability is Lightning Lash, and this is just a dot that will be applied to the tank. You want to taunt on around 2 to 3 stacks. It doesn't do that much damage, but if the stack goes high, then it will start doing a lot of fucking damage.
The second ability is Lightning Fist. Now, basically, Feng will slam the ground in front of him, causing a shockwave. Anyone caught in the shockwave is shit, and will get stunned. So, yeah, move from a shockwave, surprisingly.
However, if you do have Shroud of Reversal, it's probably a good idea to get hit by this, because you can then send it back to him. You'll take the damage from it, but he will then get stunned. And you can actually use this to interrupt the next ability, which is Epicenter, which is a massive earthquake that deals like a huge amount of damage. And the nearer you stand to the boss while the cast is going on, the more damage you'll take.
Yep.
At this point, you also have 75% reduced hit chance, so it's almost pointless trying to DPS him. So there's 2 ways of going around this. You can either stand far away from the earthquake and just AoE heal. You can interrupt it using the Lightning Fist, providing that the tank use the Shroud of Reversal on it, because that will allow you to then use it again to then stun him. But you can also use Nullification Barrier, because you can avoid pretty much the majority of the damage of this. It will last almost the whole time that the earthquake is going on, the Epicenter it's called. However, the cooldown of this will only allow you to use every other Epicenter. You want to use Shroud of Reversal to stun one of them, and then you want to use Nullification Barrier just to soak the other. However, if you do completely fuck up somehow, then you can just run away and use personal cooldowns and AoE heal.
Yeah. So at 66%, he does something called Spirit of the Spear, which is the second phase, I suppose. Now, the first ability that he gains during this phase is Flaming Spear. Now, this basically deals damage and leaves a dot on the tank for a 20-second duration that stacks. So it's a new taunt thing. You have to taunt on 2 to 3 stacks.
It works exactly the same way as Lightning Lash, except it does damage on application as well as the dot itself. So it's just a little bit more damage. And on top of this, he'll also do Wildfire. This places a debuff on a random target, and once the debuff expires, it will spawn a patch of fire underneath that player's feet, and the fires act very much like Magmor Heroic fires, as in they'll once they're down, they'll move. They won't just stand still. They'll move left, right, left, right, left, right. And the idea of these fires is that you want to clump them up in one set location as much as possible, as tightly packed as you possibly can. And the reason why you do this is because of his next ability. Feng will cast something called Draw Flame, and what he'll do is he'll essentially try and soak all of the fires up. Once he soaks all the fires up, he'll do an insane amount of AoE damage. The more fires he soaks, the more AoE damage he does on the raid. However, if you use Nullification Barrier between Feng and the fires, when he does the Draw Flames cast, all the fires will get absorbed by the Nullification Barrier, which means he gets no fires, which means he gets no stacks, which means he does no extra damage. However, you can only use this once every other Draw Flame, so one Draw Flame will go off. When the fires are being drawed in, you can still take damage from them. So when he does do Draw Flame, you need to make sure that you're not positioned between the boss and the flames yourself. Only the person with the Nullification Barrier providing it's off cooldown.
Yeah.
When the AoE damage does come in for when you don't have Nullification Barrier, just stack up underneath the boss, AoE heal. Simple as that. It's a lot of damage, but you can heal it.
And the third and final phase is Spirit of the Staff. Now, basically, he has another one of the stacks.
Yeah, he does another debuff.
Taunt on 3.
Taunt on about 3 stacks, yeah. Simple as that. And his other 2 abilities are Arcane Velocity, which does a massive amount of AoE damage, and it will do like a shit ton more to players who are standing further away. So it's kind of the opposite of Epicenter. Rather than standing further away, you need to stand right underneath his feet. And you want to use Nullification Barrier on this. every single one that you can. If not, you just need to use AoE heals. It's not that intense, but it's still quite a lot. And the problem here is a debuff that's put on a player, and this is his other ability, which is called Arcane Resonance. And this will do damage 10k every second to the affected player and to all players within 6 yards. However, every single player that is within 6 yards will increase the damage by another 10k. So if there's 9 players, or well, let's say 10 players, it's doing 100k every 1 second. So if you all stacked up, a lot of fucking damage.
So basically, if you have that, just make sure you're not near anyone.
Exactly. However, what can happen is that you'll have the debuff and he'll do the velocity at the same time. So if you have the debuff, you can't stack up, which means you need one healer to spot heal the person that's standing out. Also, one thing to note is that after Arcane Velocity runs out, Arcane Resonance can happen almost straight away. So if you're still stacked up after the velocity's run out and you can't be bothered to move and spread out again, and the resonance comes in, you're all going to like die very, very quickly. So you need to make sure that you run in for the velocity, and then as soon as it's over, move out again.
Yeah.
Otherwise, if you just stand in melee and just stack in melee the whole time, then eventually you're going to get caught out.
Yes.
So you need to make sure you move in, move out as quick as possible, and stay spread most of the time.
The boss itself is actually very simple, except it's kind of like 3 different bosses all rolled into one.
Yeah.
But every single one has very simple abilities. It's not really too hard to counter them, and like you just get a feel for the fight eventually, and you'll be able to kill it without too much issue.
Super, super easy.
So thanks for watching, guys. If this guide did help you out, then please do give us a thumbs up. It does help us out a lot, and make sure to comment, rate, and subscribe.
And if you'd like to see more 10-man guides by FATBOSS, then please do click upon your screen now in the annotations, and it will take you straight to that video.
Yes.
Thanks for watching.
Thank you.